back to orthodox would have been a good move for you. Did that come into was that in the corner at all? Was that in your mind at all that you might need to switch back?
Oh, not really, because to be honest, he never hurt me or buzzed me or anything with nothing he threw.
Yeah.
You know, and even looking back at the fight, I didn't watch the fight like 3 times. Like I didn't see what a lot of people seen, like him hitting me these crazy amount of times with right hands. Now, don't get me wrong, he landed a few right hands, but it wasn't as much as I thought it was hearing from the outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a boxing match. We're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
And I felt as if I hurt him a couple of times in there. I felt as if he respected my power more than I respected his, because there was times that I tried to step forward and he started moving and clinching. But I felt if there was anything that I could have did more was push the action more, made him fight
Mm-hmm.
more, go to the
Mm-hmm.
body more, make it a dog fight. Because once I started letting my hands go, as you see, he was more uncomfortable than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of those things, fans, but they seen you just, smoke people for the most part. So when you got a tough guy like that in there, and Majimov is a good fighter, I think you'll get more credit for this fight in the next 2 or 3 years than outsiders are giving you right now, which I give you credit. I had you smoking and winning the fight with ease, but you got the BS of the zone. I ain't gonna, some of the, because Sean was on your side, some of the
Yes, yes.
but you got a combo off on this motherfucker, then he hits you once. Oh, Bud got hit with a bitch.
Yes.
So, you got the casuals, bro.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because, it comes with the territory, and then it just shows me how far I am, you know, in the game, where they praying, they hoping, they wishing that I lose. That was just a real eye opener. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody, they just like, man, this guy, before he retired, man, we just want him to lose one. We just want him to lose one, and you can see it on their face.
Yeah.
And I felt as if, you know, they like, this is our chance.
Mm-hmm.
This is our chance.
Mhm.
And Majimov kind of let him down because he wasn't throwing enough. But at the same time, even when I was walking backwards, I always felt like I was in control. I always felt I was in control. I felt like I was controlling the pace. I was controlling everything. My jab was working great that night. And he respected me so much, he wouldn't come in and do all the things that he normally would do with any other fight. And I told everybody from the jump, I don't care how it come, whether it's 12 rounds or knockout, I'm gonna win the fight. And that's what I did.
That was the one and only pound for pound king, the undisputed pound for pound king, Terence Bud Crawford. You guys heard it. He called out DAZN for their biased commentary. Sergio Mora, Gresham, and Chris Mannix. Well, let's pray that they're not going to be doing the commentary for Canelo versus Crawford. Because even if Crawford clearly wins, you best believe Chris Mannix is going to have Canelo winning, and Sergio Mora along with Gresham are going to paint the narrative that Canelo won. And let's pray that Tarver is not going to be doing the commentary, since he's even worse than all of them, believe it or not. But since this fight is taking place on Netflix, we may have Tarver, Jim Lampley, and Max Kellerman, the Maximum Hypocrisy, doing the commentary. And that's just as bad. We all saw Jim Lampley make his return on Ryan versus Rolly, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez card, where Jim Lampley was hella biased as usual. When Devin Haney fought, he was critiquing Devin Haney left and right. He said Devin Haney is boring, he's running. The loss from the Ryan Garcia fight affected him. He's no longer the same. Even though we all know Devin got cheated by Ryan. He didn't lose to Ryan since he's still undefeated. Go back and watch the horrible commentary for that fight though. Jim Lampley was promising the fans that was watching Devin versus Ramirez that Ryan is going to steal the show. Just wait to see Ryan Garcia. There's a reason behind Ryan having all of these followers. It's because he's exciting and he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And when Ryan came and fought Rolly, Ryan got dropped. He was losing in a more boring fight than Devin versus Ramirez. But would you guys believe Jim Lampley never took his statement back? He never mentioned that the Ryan fight is boring. It's a slow pace. Absolutely not, because Ryan has the complexion for the connection to get the ultimate protection. That's why. You know how unethical you gotta be for Jim Lampley not to take that statement back about Ryan Garcia. I mean, the least thing he should have said was apparently Ryan is only exciting when he takes steroids, because when he's off of that, he's hella boring. And he doesn't even win the fight. He's losing the fight and he's boring. You know it's bad when it took one of the most biased reporters, Mike Coppinger, to point out when he realized it was pointless to protect Ryan, since he was already losing to a cherry pick. That's when Mike Coppinger pointed out that, remember, Ryan did get tested for this fight, so he's not on PEDs like he was for the Devin Haney fight. Maybe that has something to do with the way he's losing to Rolly, who just got smoked by a pit bull. Ta-da! Does it take a genius to figure that out? I just love seeing old media who pretend to be so intelligent all of a sudden become dumb. Like as if they can't comprehend what's going on. We all know what time it is. These people hide the truth to tell a lie instead because it makes them feel better. I mean, you got the maximum hypocrisy, Max Kellerman. He came back and the first thing he had to tell Crawford was, are you going to be running against Canelo Alvarez even though you are moving up 3 weight classes? If I was Bud, I would have responded to Max Kellerman, you know what? Nah, I'm going to go in there as if I'm Mike Tyson, trying to take his head off. Is that what you want me to do? How about you go in the ring and let's see how you fight? Since you love seeing fighters that go toe-to-toe and you don't like running. I mean, the audacity for Max Kellerman to say that to Bud when Bud never ran from a fight. He never ran in the ring. On the other hand, Canelo, we've seen him do both. He ran from Benavidez, Andre, Jamal Charlo, and guess what? Even in the ring, when he fought Triple G, what was he doing in the first fight? Is that running? You got this guy, Max Kellerman, who pretends to be a historian, and he's gonna tell Bud Crawford how to fight? Think about that. A fighter moving up 3 weight classes, what the hell do you expect him to do when he gets in the ring? Go Hagler Hearn? Go Mike Tyson mode? And that's why the maximum hypocrisy don't know shit about boxing. He want to tell Bud what to do. But the thing is deeper than that. He wants to create a narrative. So if Bud does move around during the fight against Canelo, if he boxes beautifully and outboxes Canelo, he wants the fans to say Crawford was running in order to ease the pain. That's why. I mean, you guys just heard what Crawford had to say about DAZN commentary. He exposed them for having the agenda to brainwash the public to believing the fighter from the Hope list is winning. Don't believe what you see. Believe what you hear. Believe what we telling you. That's how they did it when Crawford fought Madrimov, or any other fight like Oscar Duarte versus Kenny, and many, many, many more. When Crawford fought Madrimov, there were rounds where Crawford had minutes of success. And every time Crawford has success, the DAZN commentary will be talking about a bunch of nothing just to change the topic and get the fans away from paying attention to Crawford's success. So they will be talking about Madrimov amateur record or his feints, this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, he's getting popped in the head the whole entire round. And then the moment Madrimov landed a punch, that's when they start screaming and doing their job, calling out the blow by blow. Even after Crawford immediately comes back, they wouldn't call every single punch landed by Crawford. They will ignore half of them at the very least. So majority of the times they actually called out Crawford punches is when he was retaliating immediately after Madrimov landed. So they couldn't have possibly ignored all of that. They were forced to call out Crawford punches at that moment. And even then, like I said, they will still ignore half of Crawford's success. I mean, it was a time where Crawford completely figured out Madrimov. He started walking him down. Porter was telling them, man, Crawford already got him figured out. And they were still on that BS. I mean, they were giving Madrimov credit for foot feints that he wasn't even landing, and ignoring Crawford landed punches. And then in the last round, when Crawford was going for the knockout, because he had like an 11-fight knockout streak, they were like, oh, Crawford is going for the KO because he's losing. Meanwhile, mind you, Chris Mannix had Crawford winning the fight on his actual scorecards that he was doing live on DAZN. Chris Mannix tried his best to rob Crawford, and he still couldn't. But he had the audacity to tell the public that Crawford was losing the fight, along with the other DAZN racially biased commentators outside of Sean Porter, who was, for that fight, and that fight alone, was doing a great job. In other fights, he doesn't do a great job like that. But in that fight in particular, Porter had to step up because they were being too racially biased, and Porter was seeing it. He was like, man, y'all tripping. Crawford is dominating Madrimov, which was clearly the case. Sean Porter ended up proving them wrong. Then after the fight, DAZN commentary were on a campaign to boycott Canelo versus Crawford fight. They were saying they were not interested in the fight. Crawford is too small. He almost lost to Madrimov. A lot of people had Madrimov winning. We don't want to see the fight. It's easy money for Canelo. This, that, and the third. Then the moment the fight got announced, majority of them are picking Crawford to beat Canelo. How the hell you explain that? And now they are saying Canelo is old and washed up when Canelo is younger than Crawford. Now they saying Crawford is bigger than Canelo when Crawford is moving up multiple weight classes. You have the Uncle Tom show. He's accusing Crawford of being on PEDs when it's Canelo who tested positive for PEDs, and 7 fighters from his own freaking camp tested positive. 2 of them happened to test positive within the past 3 months. So how the hell you come up to that conclusion is my freaking question. We all know what time it is. This is why I always tell you guys, Crawford is not just fighting Canelo Alvarez. That's not even half of the battle. Crawford is fighting the entire freaking system. He's fighting the judges that always rob Canelo opponents. He's fighting the referee. He's fighting the commentary that's trying to brainwash the public. And he's fighting the fans who want to see Canelo win no matter what. And they're going to cheer even a feint from Canelo, and they're going to ignore Crawford's success. So Crawford has a long battle, man. You even got Turkey, who was supposed to be on his side. He talking all this Tom and Jerry shit. He got Max Kellerman doing it for him. He hired Max Kellerman to do it. Asking Crawford silly questions like that. Man, you should be fired on the spot if Turkey really had Crawford back. We all know what time it is. That being said, I'm still picking Crawford to beat Canelo. It's going to be a long battle. He has to overcome a lot of obstacles, but I believe Crawford can get it done. If anybody can get it done, Bud Crawford can, because he's the one who actually can go Super Saiyan. He can go to another level. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's pray we got a mute option this time, where we don't have to suffer listening to these racially biased commentary who can't keep it objective. And no, I'm not talking about muting everything. We still want to hear the sound of the punches, the corners, and the fans cheering. Let's see if they're ever going to give the fans what they want. Subscribe below, and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Would you give Canelo Alvarez credit for beating Terence Crawford?
That's the problem, right? It's a one-way street. I would give Terence a ton of credit for beating Canelo, but no, not the other way around. Canelo's got a hard time even calling for the fight. You think Canelo likes getting called out by the smaller guy and turning down a big money fight? He hates that, but you can't call out the littler guy. You can't tell a dude, come up here and spot me 30 pounds. By the way, I failed drug testing. You've never failed drug tests. I mean, you know how much different it is? You get a juiced-up Canelo versus little skinny Terence Crawford, who's main.
Are we gonna relitigate Canelo Alvarez's drug test?
I'm a drug user. I cheated sport plenty of times. I cheated those same commissions. This is not to relitigate. We know our own. I'm a cheater. I know a cheater when I see one.